With that being said, let's jump into our lead story of the day with Ted Cruz exposing the State Department regarding them discriminating against white people. It's really a sight to behold. This comes from Blaze Media. I do want to give them credit because we're using their video. I think they might have got it from C-SPAN or something. But let's go over this together. We'll react in real time, and then we'll move on to our next story. Let's roll it.
Cruz. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Abercrombie Winstanley. The Biden administration, I believe, is staffed by radicals.
I would agree with that.
The State Department has consistently alienated our friends and appeased our enemies. You're empowered as the State Department's first standalone Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer.
What a title. Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. That's just another name for wasting taxpayer dollars. There was a role or position at a university, and I'm not even gonna bother saying the name because I can't actually remember which one it's at. I want to say it's either San Diego State or University of San Diego or something like that, was paying like $600,000 or $800,000 for somebody to look at the data and say, hey, we need more black people, we need more Asian people, we need more Hispanics or more white people. And in a nutshell, what we need to do is actually discriminate against certain races to make sure that everybody's on an equal level playing field. We have 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. It's a waste of money, folks. It's crazy. It is nuts.
Your mandate is to promote a concept on the left called equity, which I think is nothing more than brazen discrimination.
Yes, 100%.
You were appointed in April 2021, and as you extensively testified this morning, you introduced fundamental changes to the State Department hiring practices in line with the mandate of equity to affirmatively and aggressively discriminate. A year after your appointment, in April 2022, the State Department released its, quote, equity action plan to integrate these so-called equity principles into, quote, all aspects of State Department foreign affairs. That very week, just days after you published the equity action plan, and 1 year after you began your tenure, a senior State Department official broadly distributed what I consider to be a very troubling email. I have a copy of that email next to me.
Let's have a look,
Let me
Ted.
read from a part of the email. The email says that hiring practices have developed inside the State Department so that, and I'll quote, that certain candidates could not be hired because they have a disability. They are white men.
Wow.
They are straight white men. They are not of the, quote, right religion. All of these are verbatim quotes from the email of a senior.
Where's the investigations? Oh my God. Can you imagine something like that circulating in a corporate office? Just the malfeasance, the HR violations. But hey, this is how the State Department's being run. This is how the Biden administration's being ran like this. This is how the left wants to run our country. It's okay when they discriminate against people, but when other people do it, private corporations or anybody else, you know, you're going down. You're going to be shut down. Very similar to how they dealt with COVID, right? They'll implement these regulations and these laws on all us peasants down here, but the kings and queens and all the elites up there, you know, they don't have to follow by the rules. Only we do. This is how this stuff works.
Your State Department official. My first question to you is, did you clear this guidance?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I've never seen that before.
You've never seen the email before?
I've never seen it.
So you didn't know it had been sent?
This is the first time I'm seeing it, sir.
What are the odds that it got sent to her
you
email?
Know that it is happening. That the State Department perceives, and this is, I believe, as a result of your work, that they have a mandate to discriminate against, as the email says, to discriminate against people with disabilities, to discriminate against white men, to discriminate against straight white men, and to discriminate against people that are not of the, quote, right religion. I'm not sure what that meant, but I suspect it meant that if someone is a Christian. I don't know that because that's not what the email says. Are you aware these practices are happening at the State Department?
Again, thank you for the question. I am definite and certain that they are not happening at the State Department. But again,
So do you believe the senior State Department official who sent this email was lying?
Senator, I can't comment on I don't know who that's from. I don't know if it's.
He just told you who it's from, lady. And it's very simple. If you are being honest and truthful with all of us, it's a simple answer that no, this is wrong. This is not what we do. I'm going to look into this. I want to get the name of whoever the senior official is. We need to have the political atmosphere and all this with these people going up in front of Congress. It's just so mind blowing. You can be straightforward, but this is where I think that she's not being truthful. This is where I think that she's lying, is because of the way she's answering all this. It's just political, folks. It's all politics with these people, and it's disgusting.
Never seen it before.
So you're the chief diversity officer, and you're arguing you are certain discrimination is not happening at the State Department. Is that right? Was that what you're testifying? That's what you just said.
I am saying that it is against the law, and we certainly are not overtly or on purpose breaking the law in the Department of State. Certainly, there are members of our organization who do discriminate, who do harass, who do bully, which is why we are trying to put in place programs to address it and to strengthen accountability for.
Here's a program. Fire them. Get rid of them. Like the second they do it, see you later. That will send a message. But because you're being soft on all this stuff, and you have colleagues, senior officials writing these emails, it's a government document. Basically anybody that's in the oversight committee can just open this thing up and see it. And she's just going to claim here as the chief diversity and inclusion officer that none of this is happening. I would like to point out that the role within itself to create basically equity in a nutshell that would ultimately lead to equality, right? 25%, 25, 25, whatever it may be, would thus have to ultimately be discriminatory in nature, because you would have to be leaving out one subset of group in order to fill out the other subset of group by discriminating against the other subset of groups. So, it's discriminatory in itself. The title itself might as well be Chief Discriminatory Officer. This is wild. Folks, it is a crazy ass time we live in when you have this as a position in the United States government. It's just as crazy as when the progressive left say they want separate dorm rooms for black people. They want separate graduations for black people. They want to literally segregate like school systems in a nutshell. Again, we live in the upside down. It's like Stranger Things in real time.
Those who do indeed break the law.
So you didn't clear this guidance, and after it was sent, you're testifying now that you remained unaware of it, so no one showed it to you. You were in the State Department for a year. You were empowered in your position in an unprecedented way. In your testimony, you talked about creating a DEIA data working group about hiring practices and a dedicated DEIA core precept. And your testimony is you didn't know that this discrimination was happening. My staff can transmit to you the exact header and the details of this email.
Okay.
But I have to say, Ambassador, I find it a little bit amazing that this discrimination is being reported to be ongoing in the administration, and you are professing to be unaware of it. I'm reminded from a line from the...
I would like to point out, again, I know I keep pausing it. One, we have to do it for copyright issues. Second, we're a commentary news outlet, folks. That's what we're here for, right? That's why we come to the Bald Brad Show, to get the commentary, to get the good stuff. Look, Karine Jean-Pierre's whole hiring was discriminatory within itself, where the pool was only basically African-American females. Same exact role for the Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, where the pool was only I shouldn't say African-American, just black women. You don't have to be from Africa. Hell, you could be from Haiti, you could be from anywhere to fill that role. So that was discriminatory in nature. Folks, in the corporate world, if you were just like, you know what, this is only going to be a listing for black people, that's literally discriminatory, because if a white person were to apply for that position, you go, no. Because of the race or the color of your skin, you're not going to get this position. It's where's the left outcry on this? Can you imagine if any president was like, we're only going to hire a white person, And we'll just go a step further. We're going to only hire a white female. Everybody should be upset over that because it's literally discriminating. God, what's going on in the world, especially this administration and the left just being hypocritical, right? I mean, look, if Trump were to do something and Biden were to do the exact same thing, it's 100% okay. Again, we saw it yesterday with Karine Jean-Pierre pushing out the whole racist thing when Trump was in office building a border wall. But now when Joe Biden's going to build border wall, it's not racist anymore. There's hypocrisy. One example of many.
Movie Office Space. What would you say you do around here? What is your job if not to stop discrimination? And unfortunately, I believe what your job in practice is encouraging this discrimination.
Yes, 100%.
This is a manifestation. You just said a minute ago in testimony, your hiring and promotion in the State Department will depend on complying with the edicts from your office. Is it good for the State Department and good for the United States government to be actively discriminating based on disability, based on race, based on being straight white man, or based on not being the right religion? Is that good or bad?
Senator, as I'm looking at the email, it does appear to me, and my eyesight is not great, that people have reported comments. That's certain candidates.
So what it says is, unfortunately, over the past several months, a number of people have reported comments that certain candidates could not be hired because. Right. So these are employees at the State Department saying, we can't hire someone because, and here's what the email lists, they have a disability, they're white men, they're straight white men, or they're not of the right religion.
Indeed. And so I would say comments does not at all say it is indeed happening.
Comments from hiring people saying we can't hire them because of it.
Time of the senator has well expired.
He just read you the email. This is the chief. This would be like a director level, like maybe in a corporation. The person that's leading other people, and she can't understand an email on what it actually says. People are basically saying, hey, there's people commenting that there's certain hiring practices taking place, and this is what's going on. If you read the last sentence of the email, it says basically this isn't legal, it's not okay. And so he simply just asked you, is this a bad thing or a good thing? The easy answer, it's so easy, is this is bad. It is not good. He gave you a layup just to acknowledge that it's a bad thing. So if you're going to be truthful with all of us and say that you're not doing it, then why can't you just answer the layup question that he's giving you, the low-hanging fruit, and she can't do it? It's not truthful, folks. It's really happening. Discriminatory actions are taking place in the State Department.
I would ask the senator to submit copies for the rest of the committee so we could see it. And if there's an attribution,
sure,
which I don't understand if there is or isn't one, if there's an attribution, then that person should come forward and it should be fully investigated what he has to say. Otherwise, we have an anonymous entity. The next person is...
Does it look like that guy cares? Other than that, we have an anonymous entity. He's just out there in the ether. We don't know who he is. The guy sounds like Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary. This Mr. Mendez, I'm getting very used to him and seeing him because he is the chairman of this committee. And let me tell you, folks, this guy, in my opinion, is very political, doesn't necessarily want to get to the answers. He will say outright that he does, but if you just listen to his tone, he's sitting there massaging the shoulders of the rest of his Democratic Party there. Look, it's going on. They don't want to admit it. They're okay with it, which is just mind-blowing. The left is literally the disease of this country. The progressive left will destroy this country from the inside out. It's going to happen. It is happening real time. These midterm elections couldn't get any more important. Furthermore, 2024 can't get any more important as well, because you see what happens when you let Democrats run things. They spend trillions of dollars, which, look, I understand Republicans are doing the same thing. I'm not okay when Republicans do it, and I'll call them out if we get one in 2024 for doing the same thing. We need to pay off our debt. You have an immigration crisis. You have an inflation crisis. You have a gas crisis. You have an oil crisis. You have a foreign policy crisis. You have a domestic policy crisis. You have discrimination happening in our own government. I mean, it's literally list after list with this administration and this Democrat Party. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.